What's going on YouTube? This is what we're Josh doing. I want to make a quick video of something. And by the way, I should never ever say quick video. I heard Flossie Carter say that in his iPhone unboxing and I was like, him and I are just a lot alike. He even said it in one of his Amazon Warrior things. If we say quick video, it means it's going to be a long video. That's just all there is to it. I wanted to say something. The AT&T S5, we pre-ordered that and then we got it, you know, the day it was available. I believe April 9th was the date of my unboxing, which has a lot of views. Never expected an unboxing video to get almost 1 million views that quick, but it did. And there was no root. And she came from a Nexus 5 that was rooted, and you know, my wife is very used to being rooted ever since the HTC Hero with CyanogenMod 6 on it. She's been rooted, and my Samsung Moment was rooted. So we've been rooted since 2010. So we've both gotten very used to having root access. And when we got the AT&T S5, it had a locked bootloader. You couldn't do anything. There was no root. There was a huge bounty for 18 grand on the bounty for whoever rooted it first. And there was just simply no root. And finally, Chainfire came out, or not Chainfire, but GeoHot came out with Tile Root. And that's awesome. Having root's awesome. But you still can't, people get all excited. They think, oh, I'm going to install custom recovery. No. With a locked bootloader, you can't install custom recovery. You can't. Ask Root Junkie. Ask Shane Starnes from Droid Modder X. Having a locked bootloader is no fun. Both of those people have Verizon. Verizon and AT&T both lock down the bootloaders, which is why I solemnly swear to, well, okay, I'm not gonna lie. From a, like, pre-order, you know, thing, I might still probably pre-order the S6 from AT&T, the Galaxy S6, or something like that, if I have to, but you can bet that it's either gonna go back, or I'm going to sell it and get a device with an unlocked bootloader. I might get it just so I can provide the initial video to unbox it, but it's truly a waste of money from someone that's had root for over 4 years now, or coming on since 2010, so 4 years now, who's had root. Anyways, so they finally got root access for the S5, but the bootloader was still locked. Don't buy a Galaxy device on AT&T or Verizon if you want to enjoy CyanogenMod. I had CyanogenMod 11 on most of my devices, including my Samsung Galaxy Note 3. And people were like, how did you get CyanogenMod on your Note 3? I can't install it on mine. My bootloader's locked. I'm like, that's because I choose a carrier that doesn't bootloader lock stuff. That's why I pre-ordered the Note 4 on T-Mobile, because T-Mobile and Sprint do not lock bootloaders. This is one of the biggest reasons why I stayed with Sprint, is because when I buy the Note 3, when I spend I spent over $800 after taxes, $750 for the phone, taxes was $66, shipping was $24. I spent over $800 pre-ordering my Note 4. But my bootloader is not going to be locked. I'm going to be able to root it days after getting it. I'm going to be able to install CyanogenMod 11 when that ROM becomes available in the future. So having locked bootloaders is no fun. And I do not have a device in my house with a locked bootloader. I don't. I don't. All of my Android devices are rooted. And we got the OnePlus One. We sold the AT&T locked bootloader Galaxy S5 for just over what it cost to buy this sucker brand new. Now, I did not buy this brand new, I will tell you that. We were going to buy it brand new because we sold it for enough money to cover this. That's what, when we were selling the S5, we had this phone in mind. I had an awesome dude on Google Plus or Google Hangouts. He kept messaging me, telling me he had a code that I could use, and his name was Billy. So thank you very much, Billy. I was going to accept his code and use it, but on Craigslist there was a guy called Jerry who had one of these, and this dude was pretty old, but he knew his stuff, man. I was impressed. Like, this 60-something-year-old dude is trying to show me how to use CyanogenMod. I'm like, dude, I install this ROM on most of my phones. I know how to use this. He's like, it's very different from any other phone you probably used. Like, I could not believe it. This old dude knew his stuff. I was very impressed. So, if he's watching this video, I got his OnePlus One. We bought it from him. But, yeah, so we got this on Craigslist, and it's a 64 gig Sandstone Black. Dude. If I'm being dead serious. All right, let me just unlock this real quick. Okay, look at the bottom there. If it focuses, will it focus? AT&T. Okay, and it works on AT&T because it's unlocked. This is unlocked. It works on. He had a T-Mobile SIM card in it. Pull the SIM card out, put the AT&T SIM card in it. Bam. Doesn't matter if you're on T-Mobile, doesn't matter if you're on Metro PCS, doesn't matter if you're on AT&T. You have to find out if the bands support your carrier, but this is unlocked. This can work on almost any carrier that takes a SIM card. It's absolutely freaking beautiful. If you can sell your AT&T Galaxy S5 for at least $350, preferably a little more than that, right now, to cover the taxes on a new one, you should freaking do it. You should do it. Now, I don't have any codes to give out. I got this thing used. And the guy, you know, used his codes already and gave them to 3 people on the OnePlus One forums. But if I can come up with any codes, I will try to hook some people up with some. Because I do have a decent amount of followers, and a few of them have come forward saying they, have codes they can give me. And we'll see. I'll try to help people out. But I know there's going to be a hell of a lot of people asking for the code. I don't have any codes right now. I don't have a single code to give you. And that is from the bottom of my heart, honest truth. I don't. I will have to message these people and go, hey, can I still have that code? And then I'll have to give them to people. And I have 86,000 freaking subscribers at this time. And it's almost 87. And in fact, every few days it like jumps another 1,000. So I can never keep track of it anymore. It's growing fast and it's awesome. Thank you guys. But if you can sell your locked bootloader AT&T Galaxy S5 and if you buy a OnePlus One, I recommend doing it. This has a Snapdragon 801, 3 gigs of RAM, so a gig more RAM than your locked bootloader Galaxy S5. No TouchWiz. You don't go to your task manager and see, oh, TouchWiz is taking up 1.7 gigs of my 2 gigs. Let me just clear out all my running. Oh, I don't have any running apps. That's all TouchWiz. That's all TouchWiz. It's oh, I'm giving Samsung a really hard time. Okay, 3 gigs of RAM and all of their bloat is actually okay. On the Note 3, the device is more than usable with 3 gigs of RAM. 2 gigs of RAM was stupid to put in the S5, considering every new Galaxy phone, there's all these new features and all this new bloat. 3 gigs of RAM, a gig more than the AT&T S5, but you get all of it. You get all of it. At any given moment, you can use more than 2.5 gigs at your heart's disposal. It's awesome. It's awesome. 64 gigs of internal storage. Let me just show you the apps. Let me do that real quick. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Look at that. Alright, I'm going to hold this here for just a second with my shaky hands. And I'm going to let you get soak that in, get a good view of how much storage is available internally. Look at that. 9 gigs used. To put that in perspective, you have 8 to 9 available on your Galaxy device if you do not install CyanogenMod. If you install CyanogenMod, you can get more because CyanogenMod doesn't take up nearly as much RAM and internal storage as TouchWiz does. That's why I install CyanogenMod. You may lose features. I know the camera on CyanogenMod sucks compared to stock Samsung TouchWiz ROMs. I know that. I'm not dumb. I know that. But you get a lot more RAM and a lot more storage to yourself. 46 gigs free. 46 gigs free. There's no need for, to me, in my honest opinion, there's no need for expandable storage. With my HTC One M8 Google Play Edition, I have 32 gigs of internal storage. With my Nexus 5, I have 32 gigs of internal storage. With my Transformer Pad TF701T, I have 32 gigs of internal storage. With my Nexus 7 2013, I have 32 gigs of internal storage. The Shield tablet, which is I'm so close to hitting buy on Amazon because it's available now, 32 gigs of internal storage plus an SD card. And several of the few devices I just mentioned, or a few of them have SD cards also, but 32 gigs, I never run out of storage. Perfectly capable of having my pictures synced to Dropbox, and then delete them from my phone, or my videos that are really big, or, you know, 32 gigs is the sweet spot to me. 64! That's a lot of storage. Especially when you're on a ROM that has CyanogenMod. And this thing has an unlocked bootloader. When you first get it, the bootloader is not unlocked, which I was confused. I was so confused. I'd never had a OnePlus One before, and I thought, oh, it has CyanogenMod, it's rooted. No. Bruh. You gotta go and to fastboot and unlock the bootloader, which does wipe the device, or at least when I unlocked the bootloader, it wiped it. And then you can install Torque Recovery, and then you can install Super SU in your custom recovery, reboot, and you're on the same exact ROM you had, but now you're rooted. So it's, and then now that you have custom recovery, you can install the latest CM11 M10 or monthly 11 when that comes out. And if you know, in October, the first week of October, you can install any ROM you want. There's several ROMs available for the OnePlus One. In fact, Jared Bush, Smoking Android, did a video for XD8 talking about the best ROMs available for the OnePlus One. Dude, you have so much RAM, you have so much internal storage, you have a Snapdragon 801 quad-core processor. The only thing better than that is the Tegra K1 and the Snapdragon 805, which I don't know if any devices have the 805 right now, but I know the Note 4 is going to have it, and a few other upcoming devices it's going to have it. This has the 801, so you're looking at literally top-of-the-line specs in a phone that does not have TouchWiz on it. The bootloader's unlocked. You can, if AT&T screws your bill up, charges you $2,000, you could go to T-Mobile, which is my cheapest plan right now. I have unlimited 4G LTE. I can use over 70 gigs in a month. When my home internet was out, I was using my Nexus 5 on T-Mobile to watch Netflix. I watched House of Cards, both seasons, I believe, or at least one season, and when I checked my data, I had over 50 gigs in one day. It was insane. But they didn't slow me down. They didn't cut me off. What I'm trying to say is, if somebody screws your bill up and you need to switch carriers, as long as it's GSM, you're using your same phone, you're using your same ROM, all your same apps, but you're going from AT&T to T-Mobile. You don't have to get a whole new device. That's why I love the Nexus 5. The Nexus 5 is still a great device, and the Nexus 5 has something on this phone. The Nexus 5 can be used on Sprint. I had Sprint on my Nexus 5 for the last few months because I wanted Sprint Spark. The Note 3 does not pick up the bands, I believe 25 and 41, or 26 and 41 for Sprint Spark. But my Nexus 5 picks up those bands, so I've been using my Nexus 5. I actually just put my service back on my Note 3 because on the 6th of October, my service with Sprint is done. It's done. I'm done with Sprint. But what I'm getting to with that is the Nexus 5 can be used on Sprint. The Nexus 5 can be used on a CDMA carrier, except Verizon. Verizon won't let you have it on there because it's a hot device. It's unlocked. You can have it on GSM or CDMA carriers. That means one moment you can have Sprint on it, swap your service over to a different phone, and then put your T-Mobile SIM card inside that Nexus 5. Put your AT&T SIM card inside the Nexus 5. Put your Metro PCS SIM card inside the Nexus 5. The Nexus 5 is still a beautiful device. I love it. And the Nexus 6, we are getting the Nexus 6. Every day I'm on Twitter and I'm searching Google Nexus 6. I'm reading all the specs. 5.92 inch screen, Snapdragon 805, 3 gigs of RAM, 13 megapixel camera. These are all rumors, these are all speculations. We are getting the Nexus 6, believe that. And the Note 4. I already got the Note 4 pre-ordered, going to get the Nexus 6 the day it hits Google Play. What I'm trying to say is, don't have a locked bootloader. Whether you get this phone for $349, 64 gigs, $299 for 16 gigs, or the Nexus 5, which I believe they're actually going to stop selling it soon. So that's unlocked. Dude, you buy that device, you can store it away somewhere, and if Sprint screws your bill up, or you can't stand the service anymore, like I can't, for 3 years you've had bad service, bad luck with them, and you want to put your T-Mobile SIM card in there, you can. That's why unlocked devices are beautiful. This one is GSM only. You cannot use Sprint on this. You cannot use CDMA on this. It's GSM only. So that's what the Nexus 5 has on top of this phone. But when it comes to hardware, this is a better phone internally. It's got a Snapdragon 801 versus the 800. It's got 3 gigs of RAM versus 2 gigs of RAM on Nexus 5. It's got 64 gigs of storage versus 32. So this does, this is a step up above the Nexus 5, but if you're on Sprint or you're on some CDMA carrier, this will not work, but the Nexus 5 will. Long story short, I'm being dead serious. If you can put your S5 on Craigslist, I don't recommend Swappa. Had bad experience with an asshole on Swappa who I sold a perfectly good working phone to, and then he tries to tell them that we sold them a bad phone with a camera that didn't work and scratches all over it, and I'm like, dude, we took pictures of the post before we put it on Swappa. We have proof that this device is perfectly functioning before we sent it to you, before it got in your hands. You're not sending me pictures of the same phone I sent you. Show me the serial number and I'll believe you. He never once showed the serial number to provide proof. And Swappa didn't do anything, but Swappa recommended he take it through PayPal. And PayPal made him refund the money. And then, it's just this huge thing. I will never use Swappa. I might buy a device on Swappa, but I will never sell a device on Swappa unless I know, hey, I'm selling this device to Flossie Carter and we're using Swappa as a middleman. I will never sell a device to a stranger who's going to take pictures of a different Galaxy S5 or S4 or whatever phone you sell and then say, oh, it's all cracked, it's all busted. Swappa, I need your help. PayPal, please refund my money, I got a bad device. Hey, can you please provide the serial number to make proof that that's the same phone we sent you? Oh, I can't do that. I can't do that. No, seriously. Sell it on Craigslist, sell it on eBay. Don't sell on Swappa unless you know who you're sending it to and you know that person won't screw you. But if you can get at least $350 out of your S5, I got more than $350 out of mine, on Craigslist, get a OnePlus One or a Nexus 5. I'm telling you, the Nexus 5 has almost the same specs. 2.3 gigahertz Snapdragon 800, 2 gigs of RAM, almost everything that the S5 has. But it's AOSP. It has Android 4.4.4. It has you can unlock the bootloader the moment you only have to sign in your Google account. Unlock the bootloader, root it, then install, and then log into your Google account. It's beautiful. I'm telling you, no more locked bootloaders. I'm making a pledge not to buy a device with a locked bootloader. Now, I will probably break that when the S6 comes out, and the only way to get it is to pre-order it from a carrier to get it the fastest. But you can believe I'm either returning it and then getting the unlocked bootloader version, or I'm getting something with a unlocked bootloader. Stay away from unlocked bootloaders. That's the end of my video. If you agreed with the stuff I said, give it a thumbs up. If you sell your S5 and you get a OnePlus One or a Nexus 5 or an unlocked device period, tweet me on Twitter. I will retweet you if you show me pictures of your unlocked bootloader or your phone that hasn't unlocked, your OnePlus One, your Nexus 5. I'm telling you, don't support AT&T, don't support Verizon, don't buy devices with locked bootloaders. Please follow me on Twitter and Instagram. This is What Would Josh Do, and I'm out.